Welcome to our Wednesday Wisdom Circle. It's great to be here with you all. I'll wait for the last few people to pop on here. Sadie's huffing and puffing in the background. So, welcome. This morning I have some interesting thoughts. My goodness, check this out. She's she's like, someone pay attention to me. This morning I have some interesting thoughts that I want to share with you. I'm always studying trends and in personal development and healing and different philosophies and that sort of thing. And what I can say is that there's nothing new under the sun. Certainly, it's all been there all along. But I like to look at things from a different angle and to try to connect the pieces. And something has always really bugged me about the five love languages. Are you all familiar with the five love languages? There was a book that came out years ago, and it was like it swept the world. And there's like people talk about their relationships in these terms all the time. So basically, the five love languages was a book written to help us understand how to give to our partners or other people in our lives based on whether their love language was primarily words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, or physical touch. And these were created to help us better understand just how we give and receive love. Because often we're giving to our partners or our friends or our people what we want instead of what they want. But I've always found that a really limited point of view because it misses something. It misses that we are complex human beings and we're not just born with the desire to have gifts or quality time. It comes from somewhere. And really, I want to look at it in terms of how it's not instructions for what we need from others, but actually an invitation to heal yourself. Like it's showing us where our wounds are. And yet we hear people in relationships, people come in my office all the time, like, well, my love language is acts of service and he never does anything for me. And I'm like, well, why don't we look at where that comes from first? So if you recognize yourself as someone who really responds to and craves words of affirmation, like validation from outside, great job. You look beautiful. Nice dress. I love the way you did that work. Maybe you crave being told that someone loves you because you never received those words growing up. Or you maybe had emotionally distant or critical or performance based parenting. Now, we're not here to throw anybody's parents under the bus. It's not it at all. It's just like looking at, oh, if that was missing from my childhood and now I'm seeking it out here, I'm still replaying my childhood, trying to win the love of my parents. I could be a grown up and instead become my own loving voice. I could speak kindly to myself and notice my inner critic when it arises and tell it to take a seat. It's our responsibility to first and foremost heal our wounds so that we can show up for others as whole and complete. As soon as we blame someone else for not meeting that need, we're abdicating responsibility. So maybe you just tell yourself you're proud of you. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I've done a lot. I'm enough. That's a great way to start. If you are someone who has traditionally valued acts of service, so meaning someone, takes the garbage out or uh, shows up at your door to help clean the windows or whatever it is that's an act of service, you might feel most loved when people show up for you, especially without being asked. But that wound is often that you had to be the responsible one. You weren't supported necessarily. Maybe there was even some emotional neglect, but you always had to take care of things. And this happens to a lot of children that became, that had to be parents to their parents. And there's a lot of people, and maybe you're one of them. I was one of them when I was 5 years old. I felt like my mom's parent because she was still grieving from the loss of a child. And and so the healing in that is to really begin showing up for yourself in terms of creating the boundaries that allow you to have self-care rituals, to honor your own needs, to do the things that make you happy before you say yes to everyone else. So often, the people pleasers that are giving acts of service to everyone else, their love language is acts of service because they're just dying to have that need reciprocated. But the key is boundaries, that saying no, and then taking care of yourself to some degree. The third love language is receiving gifts. And the gift is less about the object and more about being remembered and cherished, right? And the wound there, if we love to receive gifts and that's how we feel loved, the wound is often that we felt invisible or forgotten, especially in times when we needed to feel important. And that's where to look, right? It's just like, oh, where was that present in my life? And how can I then meet that need by giving myself small, meaningful gifts, acts of generosity to myself, and time that nourishes my soul, and to recognize that you're worthy of your own devotion, you know? The fourth um, love language is quality time. And a lot of people love to, be close to their people and and spend a lot of time with them. And they say that's how they feel loved. You might yearn for the undivided attention because you rarely felt like a priority. Perhaps you had emotionally unavailable caregivers, and that doesn't mean anything bad. Maybe they were just working really hard and they to make ends meet and they couldn't be there for you. Or environments where connection was kind of scarce. So the healing, the wound, the healing that wound is, getting present with yourself instead of looking out here everywhere for someone to spend time with, to actually get comfortable with spending time with yourself, like journaling, meditating, taking slow walks, and choosing to be with yourself without distraction. So putting the phone down. When you learn to spend time with yourself, you're not looking out here for someone else to fill some kind of hole in you, which is unfair to other people. And the last one is physical touch. And this, unfortunately, it's a need for a lot of people, but unfortunately, a lot of men have this as their highest need, or they say it's their love language, and this makes me sad because boys were often brought up without as much physical affection and told to suck it up, and they weren't comforted, and so it's actually they're deeply seeking the mother attention, the that they didn't get as children. And then they seek it from you. And if you rebuff them at all, it can become very, they get very pouty about it and all of that. But that's like the wound in them is that they, touch was probably withheld because boys don't need that kind of affection. It's so sad. And then this could be for women too, but reconnecting with your own body. So doing self massage, warm baths, or simply like practicing, placing a hand on your heart, rubbing your feet, like getting to know your own body. You deserve love and care, and giving it to yourself is really important. In Ayurveda, they use a technique called dry brushing. Ayurveda is yoga's sister science, and so to brush your whole body, I have a brush that I actually do when I get out of the shower, but it like stimulates all of your cells and your skin and your nerve endings, and it feels really good. It's supposed to help with cellulite too. I don't know if it does. I haven't noticed that, but but it feels really good to have your whole body touched by something, you know? So there are ways that we can can tend to these needs on our own. And I think it's our innate responsibility to do so, so that we're not walking around in the world saying, this is how I need to be loved and you owe that to me. Like this, I want to show up full and show up whole so that I can just show up and be like, I don't need a partner. I want to be in that. It's a different energy. So the love language that you long for most might not be a need someone else should fill. It might just be the place where you most need to return to yourself. And I just think this is a really interesting inquiry. It's like re-empowering ourselves to meet those needs from within, and we take responsibility for our healing. We free others from being our source of love. Like, God, if it changed to that, right? We free others from being the source of our love, and instead we invite them into, witness our wholeness. So I've got a little guided meditation for you all today, and we'll experience coming home to love. If you want to join in the meditation, just sit up nice and tall and close your eyes. And let your hands either rest gently on your lap or on your heart. Lately, I've been meditating with my hands on my heart, and there's something really lovely about it. Grounding, it helps me stay more present. So you can choose. Take a few deep, slow breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth to just allow your shoulders to drop and your jaw to soften. Let your tongue get heavy on the floor of your mouth. Let your eyes become heavy in their sockets. And now just attach your awareness to your breath moving into and out of your nose. Just a gentle awareness. Now move your attention to your heart as though you're breathing into your heart. Feel your heart beneath your chest. We know that when we breathe into the space of the heart, we create brain heart coherence. Just take another moment to breathe deeply into your heart. Now imagine that you're walking into a beautiful sanctuary, a place that feels safe, nurturing, and somehow sacred. And the space is entirely yours. It's built with love. And it's here to remind you that everything you seek is already within you. As you walk in, you notice 5 glowing lights around the room, each one representing a love language. You walk up to the first light and you hear your own voice speaking gently. You are enough. You are worthy. I love you. Let those words land in your heart. Bask in the light of those affirmations. When you move slowly to the next light, acts of service, and you see yourself offering yourself support. Let me take care of you today. I'll make space for rest, joy, and what matters most to me. Notice the feeling of creating boundaries to take care of yourself. Now you move to the third light, receiving gifts, and a small box appears in front of you. You open it, and inside is a symbol of your worth, a note, a gem, a key, a reminder that I will never forget you again. Next, you step into the warm glow of quality time. And you see yourself sitting in presence, still attentive and whole. No need to do, no need to perform, no need to be anything that you're not. I choose to be here with you. You matter to me. And finally, approach the radiant energy of physical touch. Wrap your arms around yourself or place your hand on your heart or your cheek and feel the warmth. You're safe now. I will hold you always. Breathe in the love you've just given to yourself. Let it move through your body like golden light. You're not broken. You are whole and you are home. Take a few more breaths deep into your heart space. Know that the yogic teachings have always said that what you seek is within you. Everything you need, everything you desire comes from within. You are enough, you have enough, you are whole, and you are home. Now take a long, deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. Let your eyes flutter open. Mm. So the inquiry around this particular topic would be, which love language do I crave the most? And you might have to look at conversations you've had with people that are close to you when you say to them, "You never tell me you love me," or "You never want to hold my hand," or, those kinds of things. Those will lead you to maybe where the spot is for you. And what might it reveal about, a wounded part of yourself? Then how can you begin to offer that love to yourself in small but meaningful ways? And then this is really important. Have I been unconsciously expecting someone else to fill a void that's actually mine to heal? That's a powerful question. And I think that if we're all honest, there's probably someone somewhere in your life where that might be the case. And this is where the really deep healing starts to happen when we take full responsibility. It's not about not needing people, it's about saying, "Whoa, I've made you responsible for something that you're not responsible for." That's creating real freedom in our relationships. And what would it look like to become the genesis, the spark of the love that you long for? What if it came from you? What would that free up in you? So the goal is not to stop wanting connection from others or to stop needing it as, but it's to stop needing it as proof of our worth. Wanting connection is human, but needing it as proof of our worth is actually very destructive. You're lovable and you're worthy and you're enough. And even when no one else is watching, and whether someone else is in your life or not, and when you understand that no one else is beholden to us to make us feel fulfilled. So I'm really happy and grateful to have this platform to share some of my ideas, because this is not a sort of a usual idea. Most people just follow the love languages and then they blame their partner for not meeting them. And that's like a pretty standard thing in therapy for years and years. And I've always thought it was sort of bullshit, to be honest. And I really did a deep dive into this recently, and to help some clients of mine, and discovered some interesting things about myself along the way. So I hope that this is something that you found helpful this morning. And I'd love to open it up for any of you if you have